Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chelloveck Movies. My name is John, and this video is going to be about two editions from 88 films. One from the slasher collections, spine number 59, that is Evil Laugh, and also one from the Italian collection, that's spine number 88, and that is 11 Days and 11 Nights 2. First up is 1986's Evil Laugh. Now, I've just watched this morning, got a lot of things to talk about, but what a film this was. I wanted to see this one for a long time. This has been available on Vinegar Syndrome. I was going to pick it up when I saw 88 was getting it out. I thought, because obviously I collect all of these, I knew I had to pick it up on this range. Now, the film Evil Laugh has got quite a lot of interesting things behind it. Mainly, it was directed by the fella who plays Joey from Friday the 13th, Part 5. Now, when I found out that he had made this film, I thought I'd got to see it. And with a name like Evil Laugh, you think, is this a comedy? It's not really a comedy, but it doesn't take itself seriously at all. Obviously, with it being directed by Dominic Brassia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, even though he's not a big part of Friday the 13th Part 5, one of my favourite Friday the 13ths, he does have a really good presence in that film. And I'm not going to go any further into that, but everybody knows Joey from Friday the 13th Part 5. Obviously, as well, there's a Fangoria that is being passed around in this film, and in it is obviously on the cover. It is Friday the 13th Part 5. So he's really egging it up on this film. But what a great film this is. So this slasher has a really familiar plot where there was a killer 10 years ago, was in this house, was in a sort of care home for kids, and something happened, so he went crazy in there. Now, 10 years after, they're going back to this house. This group of people who are going to be med students are going to fix this house up and bring it back to where it was and put it out for another sort of care home. And what do you think happens there? So, yeah, this killer comes back after 10 years. That's not going to give anything to do with plot away. It says it on the front here. Martin's back and he scare you to death. So this Martin was the killer from the first incident. Now, that's as far as I'm going to go with the plot. It also has a great feature-length documentary on here when you get lots of people from, the film. But unfortunately, Joey from Friday the 13th Part 5 is no longer with us. It would have been great to see him on this documentary. But there's plenty on here, and there's loads of stuff behind the scenes I want to find out about this film. It's great to have this really good documentary to do with this, because when I was watching it, I thought I really want to see more about this, and I was really glad to see there was a full-length documentary on here, so I will be watching that very soon. The picture quality on here isn't the best the picture quality is. It's quite grubby, quite grainy, but it really lends to this film. I think the elements aren't there. Also, as well, it does say there's some gore effects on here, and they put it back into the film, but they couldn't get the gore effects from the original negatives. They had to get them from the video. And what they tried to do is they try to piece it in to make you look as if you can't see the joins. And I've got to say, in my opinion, when you see the gore effects, I don't think the quality drops at all. I think it's quite seamless. So it's brilliant they've done that. So this is fully uncut. As well, I think the cover's really great because when you look at it, you think, oh, wow. But there's nothing like that in the film. This person's not in the film. This character's not really in the film. The actor's in the film. That's about it. I like stuff like that. This was the things in the video shops. I talk about this all the time. You would have went to video shops, you would have saw this immediately and you would have got it. It's a kind of like clickbait, if you want. But it always got you to buy these things. Now, this one has lived up to its cover, even though I was wanting to see it before I saw what the cover is going to be. But this is a highly, highly recommended slasher. Yes, it's cheesy. Yes, it's quite laughable in places. The acting is not that great, but I've got to say the cast really did it for me. I think the cast is amazing, although it's probably people you're never going to see in any other films. But really enjoyed it. It was a winner for me, and I can't wait to go back to the documentary. So that's Slasher Classics Collection, spine number 59, 1986's Evil Laugh. Next up is 1991's 11 Days and 11 Nights 2. This is a 4K, and this was quite a surprise when it came out, mainly because I didn't even know this existed. 88 have previously released 11 Days and 11 Nights, the first one. This is spine number 54, so it shows you this was a long time ago. This is the limited edition slip. As you know, I don't really collect many of them, but because this is from here, I started collecting it, and there's spine number 54. And I think this was actually available when I bought it. And this is a film, it's when these came out. This is the erotic films that came out in the 90s, the likes of 9.5 Weeks, Two Moon Junction, a lot of numbers in the titles. And the first one for me from 1987 is basically, when we're talked about this quite a few times, when the Italian market sees a winner with 9.5 weeks, they immediately go out and film their own versions of this tale just to cash in, basically. And this is like a cash in of that. Now, I do think that part two, it seems like it's got a bit more of a story. I don't know if they're intertwined. I don't think it's not the same person in here, and I don't know if it's the same character. That happens a lot in Italian cinema anyway. But this is quite an interesting one because there's four of these films. Now check this one out. 11 Days and 11 Nights from 1987. That's directed by Joe D'Amato. That's the one I've got there. There's 11 Days and 11 Nights 2 from 1991. That's the one I've got there, the 4K, which is directed by Joe D'Amato. 1991, don't forget that. Then you've got 11 Days and 11 Nights Part 2, 1988, also directed by Joe D'Amato, which is also called Top Model. And of course, you've got 11 Days and 11 Nights Part 3 from 1989, directed by Joe D'Amato. So it looks like he's done 1, 2, and 3, then went back and done Part 2, because when you watch it, it's full of American actors. I don't think anybody's dubbed in there, which is unusual for Joe D'Amato's films. So I put this on, and again, I was quite surprised to see this coming out in 4K, not just your standard Blu-ray, because a lot of these are getting a 4K upgrade, and this one's the first time out here in 4K, which I'm all about. I think that's great to do that. Also, we've got the Blu-ray in here as well. The extras on here are on the Blu-ray, not on the 4K. So as I do with most 4Ks that come from the Italian market, I always treat them to think they'll not be the best of 4Ks. They'll not be like groundbreaking, but they look pretty good. So I put this on. It starts off a little bit grainy because that's when the credits are up. So if you go past that, you want to see the pure picture, what you'll see. And I've got to say, this looks absolutely stunning. The quality on it is just pin sharp. There's no damage on it whatsoever. The colors are fantastic, and it's absolutely brilliant. I think it's obviously much better than 11 Days, 11 Nights Part 1, because that's just a Blu-ray. And it looks pretty good, but this one looks absolutely stunning. It makes me think, are they going to go back and they're going to get 11 Days and 11 Nights out in 4K? Maybe they will, I don't know. But this is, if you like this type of thing, this is a solid entry, because for me, when I'm looking at it, and I do need to kind of look more into the other parts 2 and 3, which he also directed, and see what they're all about. Now, will 88 put out the other 11 Days and 11 Nights Part 2? I don't know. That'd be such a crazy thing to do, and put it out the same title in the same line, but it's not the same film. I don't think that's been done before. Probably has been done with Vinegar Syndrome, maybe. But yeah, that was an interesting thing that I found out about that. After knowing nothing about this film, didn't even know that existed. And then here we are, finding all that about it. But I've got to say, the picture quality in here, it's got Dolby Vision, so it looks absolutely sensational. And the best thing about it for me is the fact is seeing a Joe D'Amato film that's not dubbed. I don't mind dubbing. I think dubbing's quite good, actually. Sometimes you get some really funny stuff said in dubbing. But this was, the fact that he's probably went across to America to do this one. Now, this is, like I say, 1991, so maybe this is a bit after the events of the sort of erotic thrillers that came out in that early time, but maybe not. Maybe with Basic Instinct and stuff being roundabout then, you might have thought, well, I'll give it another shot, maybe go to the American market, who knows? But maybe on this disc, you'll find all that out, because it's got quite a lot of extras on, like I say, on the Blu-ray. So when you look at the picture qualities, you'll see the first one, it'll show you the Blu-ray version, and it'll show you the 4K. You'll see there's not much difference in there. So if you just want to get the Blu-ray one of this, you're not going to miss out on much. But I've got to say that the colors on the 4K are the star of the show, as always. The higher level of detail is always welcome. So there you have it. There's my thoughts on these new two releases from 88 Films. Spine number 59, Evil Laugh, and also spine number 88, 11 Days and 11 Nights 2. Highly recommended. This one might be a lot more interesting than the first one, and this one for me is an absolute winner. And it's such a good film to have, and also as well with the connections that it's got for the stars in here and also the director. It's amazing. I can't wait to go back and watch the rest of the documentary on here. So, thanks for watching. You take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.